Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into a really fascinating theory from our source material. It's all about a hidden conflict between two totally different kinds of power. We're going to explore a secret battleground where ancient spirits and, you won't believe this, modern physics are said to be in a total clash. So let's just jump right into the big question our source material wants us to think about. Can a sacred object, something that's been charged up with spiritual energy for generations, be completely shut down by a simple digital photo? I know it sounds kind of out there, but we're about to unpack a theory that claims this isn't just possible, it's actually based on a fundamental law of the universe. To really get this, we've got to start with the ancient side of this whole equation. We're talking about a super powerful spiritual tool that, according to our source, has a secret weakness that most people have no idea about. Okay, so this is the Mayombe Nganga. In the spiritual practice of Pala Monte Mayombe, the Nganga is basically a sacred cauldron. You can kind of think of it as a powerful battery, an energetic home for spiritual entities. It's a huge deal. But here's the twist. According to this theory, the Nganga's real weakness isn't what you'd think. It's not about some spiritual kryptonite or a counter curse. No. The source argues that its vulnerability is actually buried deep inside its very own energetic signature. All right, so now let's flip the coin and look at the other side of this battle. It's time to meet the challenger in this esoteric fight, a type of magic that comes from some very surprising and very modern origins. This is what our source calls psychotronic magic. So what is it? Well, it's all about manipulating energy fields. The whole idea is to capture, channel, and then shoot that energy at a specific target. And get this, it can be done with electronic gadgets or sometimes with nothing more than a super focused, highly trained mind. Now, what's really wild is where this stuff supposedly comes from. The source traces the word psychotronics all the way back to Cold War-era parapsychology research. Yep, in the Soviet Union, and it was originally developed for military purposes. After the USSR fell, all this knowledge started leaking out to the West, and eventually it got mixed in with other ideas like radionics. So you're probably wondering, how in the world can these two things even interact? Well, to understand that, the source says we have to look at the rules of engagement. And surprisingly, these rules aren't framed in spiritual terms. They're framed in the language of physics. And this quote, which the source attributes to Nikola Tesla, is basically presented as the master key. The entire idea is that the secrets of this strange conflict can all be understood if you just think about three little words: energy, frequency, and vibration. So this framework breaks it all down into a kind of energetic physics. The core belief is that everything, and I mean everything from a rock to a thought to a spiritual entity, is just energy vibrating, and everything has a specific measurable vibrational signature. And if it can be measured, the source argues, then it can definitely be manipulated. Okay, you with me so far? Because this is where all the pieces finally click together. This is where the source brings the ancient Nganga and the modern psychotronics into the same ring and reveals the heart of the argument. And here it is, the core of the supposed weakness, a vibrational mismatch. The source actually puts a number on it. It says the Nganga has a pretty low vibration, somewhere between 50 and 150 hertz. But the psychotronic attack? That thing operates on a whole different level, using super high-frequency energy. This chart really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? The source uses this great analogy of a simple harmonium instrument. So the Nganga maxes out around 150 hertz. But a harmonium, that thing vibrates at 440 hertz. In this model of energy, that difference is it's enormous. The higher frequency doesn't just beat the lower one, it completely steamrolls it. And that leads us to what the source says is the fundamental rule of this entire conflict. Higher vibration always dominates lower vibration. It's not even a fair fight. The theory is that the higher frequency can totally cancel out the lower one, just wipe it off the map. So, how would an attack like this actually work? Well, the process laid out is pretty wild. It all starts with something ridiculously simple, a photograph. That picture acts like an energetic link, or a phone number, to the real thing. Then high-frequency energy is blasted at the photo, and that, in turn, supposedly neutralizes the physical object itself. It just takes it out of service. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here. When you boil it all down, what is this theory really trying to say about the nature of power? To really expand on this idea of frequency, our source also brings up theories from researchers like Dr. David Hawkins. He claimed that even human emotions have specific vibrational values. And get this, positive emotions like peace and love are said to vibrate at over 500 hertz, which is way, way higher than that anger we were just talking about. And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway from this whole theory. It completely reframes the concept of power. In this way of looking at the world, power isn't about ancient rituals or spooky spirits. It's just a function of vibrational dominance. Whichever side has the higher frequency wins. End of story. And that leaves us with one last big provocative question to chew on. If we actually follow this theory's logic, that the whole universe just runs on energy and vibration, what does that really mean for how we understand power? Is it something you have to build and fight for, or is it something you just need to tune into? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.